up, y'all? Today we are breaking down a disc golf graphic because this is my life now, and I went from all football all the time to all disc golf all the time. So even though this is an old disc golf graphic, decided to break it down. There'll probably be like more of these in the future soon, and it's kind of the same setup as usual, and all the same principles apply. So I won't bore you with like talking through what's happening here. You can obviously see you just like are removing the background and brushing away the imperfections with a black brush with the layer mask. So here I'm changing his shirt color because I liked how everything was like this maroon and black look, and I thought that red was like kind of clashing with his other with the other color in the photo. So I decided to make his shirt black instead. And I think I also did that because I think it's because I didn't want to like make people think that was a certain photo or something. I don't really remember why I did that, but anyway, I definitely went through the time and effort to do it. So for some reason, so here I'm putting in a background, and it's that grungy texture, and then I just brushed away part of it, or I added a exposure layer on the top left just so there was like a light source, and you can kind of see it in his trophy that he's holding that light source is already on that left side, so it already is kind of working. And then there I'm adding in like inner shadows, which is like a lighting technique, and then drop shadows, which is also a lighting technique, like reinforcing that idea that there's a light source in the top left. And I kind of messed it up that whole time because I'm always like second guessing myself and wondering, does this look natural or whatever? So it's good to mess around with, make sure you have it right, because you don't want it to be too extreme. Like right now I think it looks a little bit too much. So then I found a texture that I wanted to add in, and basically just kind of like kept finding textures to throw in and mess around with. And again, like, you should experiment when you're working on graphics, especially when they're like personal graphics like this one was. Like, no one was asking me to make this, so you can take your time, mess around with like different textures, different overlays, that sort of thing. So yeah, there I was just messing with the inner lighting and then drop shadows and the cutouts, and I may have ended up taking it away. Like right there it's not on there because I just thought it was too much, and I thought the lighting like kind of worked well without it. But I kind of kept going back and forth because I wasn't sure. So I found this texture, and I thought it looked like sort of a Spider-Man texture, and I decided to add that in because people were calling him, so his name is Parker Welk. He's not like a super well-known name in disc golf yet, so this is his first big tournament win, and that's why I decided to make this graphic for him. And they called him Peter Parker Welk because he like jumped through this tree after making a putt, and he kind of looked like it was like a Spider-Man move or whatever. So I thought that was cool, and I decided to like kind of go with that theme a little bit. And I ended up taking away the blue aspects of this and making them black, just because I wanted the color just to kind of all match well and go together. And with that texture, I also put a blending mode on it, which always helps. You should mess with blending modes. And then if you double click on the layer, you can go back and watch me do this, but if you double click on the layer and drag those sliders out that are at the bottom, they'll kind of take away different aspects of the layer depending on the light and dark areas of that photo or of that layer. And you can also do it based on what's underneath that layer or the photo. And so those are very helpful things to use when blending modes aren't like doing what you want or taking away certain aspects of the photo. So I use those a lot. So you should start experimenting with that now, because once you realize kind of how it works, it is a very useful tool. So here again, I just found this photo, put it behind the rest, and then started like flipping through blending modes, which is half of my workflow. And there's a reason why it's half my workflow, and like look how cool it just like immediately makes this graphic. Like I just kind of stumbled into that, and I think that's like sick, because it's just like this abstract looking, you know, background, but also pertains to the graphic. So it's like it like is a photo, but it isn't a photo, you know. Like it's not like another thing that's like taking a whole bunch of your attention away, but because it's like a little more abstract, but also you know like what it is and like where it came from. So just a really cool aspect. And then here I'm adding in the name with just some cool text, and I decided to like match it up to where that stroke from the K came in and like hit the E well, so then it like just perfectly aligned, and I thought that looked really cool. Kind of the whole vibe is like a grungy, like, I don't know, it reminds me of like skater graffiti look or something like that. It's kind of what I ended up going for. So then at the end of a lot of my graphics, I decided to put in like lens flares and overlays and just see if they blend the image together well, and like add to the lighting effects that I've used to kind of like further establish unity in the graphic, because you kind of want everything to look like it belongs there. You don't want everything to have light from different directions and like a different contrast on all your photos and a different coloring style on all your photos. You want everything to be like a unified look, unless you're like specifically going for something else for some reason, which most of the time I'm not. My goal is to make everything look like it belongs in that scene together, and I think that's like a real art form, and like take pride in doing that well. And I don't always do it well, but when I do it well, that's like what excites me. I think that's just a really cool thing, and I think that's what a lot of people like that ask me for advice, that's what they need to be working on, because we can all be working on that. Like I'm still working on that, but that's the biggest thing that's going to make you look more professional to me. So then I just decided to add the details in the top left just for like informational purposes, and they kind of take up a little bit of that white space. Doesn't like take away from the graphic portion. So that's it for that one. Thank y'all for watching. Probably going to be putting out more disc golf content in the future, and I'll see you in the next one.